The galaxy was a grand weave of light, filled with the trails of civilizations that had risen, spread, and claimed the stars. From the oldest empires to the newest coalitions, every known system was charted on the galactic map, every nebula, every trade route, every empire's reach. Yet there was a place where the map simply stopped. A vast blank region at the edge of the spiral arm, bordered in red. There were no routes through it. No beacons. No data relays. Just 3 words written across the void: human space restricted. No one dared to ask why. To the younger species of the Orion sector, it was a mystery whispered about in academies. To the older ones who had lived through the days before the war that never officially happened, it was a memory too heavy to recall. In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, curiosity had once more taken root. The new generation of delegates, bold and ambitious, looked at the empty zone with defiance. One of them, a slender avian being named Relin, stood before the holomap and pointed to the empty black. "Why do we leave this region unmarked?" Relin asked. "Are we, the Council of 1,000 Worlds, so afraid of one species that we pretend their stars do not exist?" Silence fell. Old Counselor Male, his skin a dull gray with the weight of age, raised his eyes slowly. His voice was steady, calm, and cold. Because fear is not always irrational. Because curiosity once sent fleets there and none returned. Relin fluffed his feathers and laughed nervously. "Old legends. You would have us live by myths." Another delegate leaned forward. "My world lost 3 ships there." "Do not call that myth," the younger ones exchanged glances. Data archives held only fragments, records sealed by older councils, reports marked classified. To them, humanity was a name without a face, a story used to frighten cadets. But to those who remembered, humanity was not a story. It was a lesson. Far beyond the Council's territory, past the marked borders and silent beacons, lay the Sol Protectorate, what remained of humanity's interstellar reach. Few outsiders had ever seen it. Those who had were changed by the experience. Some described it as quiet beyond reason, others as an empire that didn't look like one. From the void, their systems appeared calm, modest even, yet sensors failed to read their depths. There were no patrols, no transmissions, no visible defenses, only silence, and the faint shimmer of gravitational distortions that sensors could not explain. At the edge of that silence floated the research vessel, Curiosity's Wing. It belonged to the Varel Alliance, a species known for their boldness in exploration. Its captain, Renar, had convinced his government that the old restrictions were outdated myths. His mission was simple: enter human space and chart what lay beyond. "Record all data," he ordered, "and transmit every 20 cycles. If we fail to report, the Council will at least know what lies here." The crew obeyed, though unease lingered in every movement. The border was not marked by anything physical. No stations, no ships, no warning buoys. Just a faint energy veil that shimmered like heat over a desert. When the ship crossed it, all communications cut off. Renar frowned. "Report. Transmission blocked," said the sensor officer. "Unknown interference. Systems show no anomaly, yet the signal does not leave this sector." "Then we proceed," Renar said. "There must be something generating the distortion." Hours passed. Stars glimmered unchanged. Then out of the black a shadow appeared, massive, slow, and ancient. It drifted toward them without a visible drive signature. The crew fell silent as the scanners struggled to lock on. "It's metallic," whispered the officer, "but not like any alloy known. No engine emissions. No life signs." "Visual feed," Renar said. The screen flickered to life. Before them loomed a vessel the size of a small moon, its hull dark and worn by ages. Across its surface were markings half erased by time, and a single emblem still visible, a stylized Earth surrounded by stars. Renar's pulse quickened. Could it be derelict? Then a voice, deep and mechanical, echoed across every system of the ship. "Unidentified vessel. You are trespassing in Terran sovereign space. Turn back." Renar froze. "Who is speaking?" The voice replied without emotion. "Designation irrelevant. You have crossed into restricted territory. Turn back now." Renar tried to respond. "We come in peace. We wish only to make contact." There was silence, then the voice again. "Contact denied." Renar hesitated. "We are explorers, not aggressors." Surely, the space outside shifted. The human vessel vanished. Sensors screamed. Something massive now surrounded them, invisible to the eye. Renar saw the readings spike beyond comprehension. Gravitational distortion rising, his officer shouted. It's locking onto us. Engines full reverse, Renar ordered. But it was too late. The stars blurred and the ship's systems went dark. When vision returned, they were drifting back across the border, their drives disabled, their data cores erased. Only one thing remained, an audio recording repeating the same line. Do not return. The Curiosity's wing limped back to Council space weeks later. The crew was silent, pale, shaken. Their logs showed no evidence of what happened. The Council declared the mission inconclusive, but whispers spread again. Centuries earlier, the galaxy had tried to conquer Earth. Back then, humanity was a rising power, young, restless, defiant. The Council had underestimated them, believing the primitive species could be easily subjugated. The first fleet sent to pacify Earth vanished. The second came armed with dreadnoughts and cruisers. It too disappeared. The third returned half destroyed, its survivors raving about weapons that bent light and gravity, about ships that moved without engines, about soldiers who fought without fear. Then the Council stopped sending fleets. The records were sealed. The galactic map was redrawn. Over time, the memory of that war faded into myth. But humanity never forgot. In the heart of Sol, deep beneath layers of defense and silence, an ancient command station watched the stars. Its operators were not military in the traditional sense. They were guardians of the veil, the invisible boundary that hid their space from outsiders. One of them, Commander Rian, stood before the main display, watching the energy signature of the virile ship fade beyond the border. Another one tried. He said quietly. His aide nodded. Minimal incursion. No threat detected, Ryan sighed. They never stop wondering. Would you? The aide asked. Rian gave a faint smile. Maybe not, but curiosity has cost them enough already. He turned toward the window, where the vast spread of Sol's defense grid shimmered faintly against the dark. Thousands of silent platforms drifted unseen, each older than the Council itself. They had been built during the Silent Age, when humanity withdrew from galactic politics after the Great War, swearing never to interfere again. But withdrawal did not mean weakness. It meant preparation. Back in the Council Hall, panic was quietly building. The Curiosity's wing had not only returned disabled but marked. Every system bore the same encryption code, one the archives recognized but few dared to mention. Old Counselor Mile knew it well. He had seen that code once before during the last war, burned into the wreckage of the Council's flagship. He looked across the hall at the younger delegates, their faces full of disbelief. It's them, he said softly. They're still watching. Raylan shook his head. That's impossible. No civilization can maintain that kind of power in isolation. Miles' gaze hardened. You think they are isolated? You think silence means weakness? Then you have learned nothing from history. Raylan opened his mouth to argue, but Miles continued. When they withdrew, they did not vanish. They built quietly, unseen. They found ways to make the stars themselves their guardians. Their ships move faster than light, but leave no trace. Their weapons do not fire, they reshape physics. The last fleet that challenged them ceased to exist before its crew knew it had been attacked. The hall fell silent again. So we simply pretend they do not exist? Raylan asked, his voice shaking. Yes, Miles replied, and that is why the map ends there. Beyond the veil, deep in human space, massive shipyards floated in the shadows of gas giants. The vessels being built there were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Sleek, black, silent. They were not made for conquest. They were made for deterrence. Each ship carried the name of an ancient city. Athens, Babylon, Rome, Cairo. They were reminders of humanity's long memory and longer patience. Rian watched one of them, the Alexandria, rise from its cradle. Its hull shimmered like liquid, absorbing starlight. He knew most of the galaxy believed humanity dormant, perhaps even extinct. That illusion was by design. The fewer who remembered, the safer the peace remained. A voice came from the command console. Council movements detected near the border again. Ryan frowned. How many ships? 3 observation class, he nodded. Do nothing unless they cross. They'll learn what others did if they do. The aide hesitated. You think they'll ever stop trying? Ryan looked out at the stars. Curiosity is part of what makes us all alive. But some truths are too heavy for the galaxy to bear. Back at the Council's core worlds, fear was turning into obsession. Relan, undeterred by warnings, gathered a coalition of younger powers, the kind who sought glory through discovery. They believed humanity's supposed power was exaggerated, that the old Council had hidden the truth to keep others fearful. "We will reveal the secret," Relan declared. "We will cross the border and prove the myth false." Dozens of ships followed him. They crossed the red line, broadcasting proudly. The transmission reached human space.